Trey Gowdy destroys former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe with just 3 words, by Dan Lindsay, Politics US News for MadWorldNews.com. Andrew McCabe, the former FBI director who was just fired days before his retirement, isn't having a good weekend. And things just got so much worse. In fact, South Carolina Congressman Trey Gowdy destroyed former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, and all it took was 3 words. You don't want to miss this. After former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe was fired from his job on Friday, March 16, 2018, he released a pathetic statement claiming that the Trump administration attacked his credibility in an attempt to ruin his reputation and slander the Bureau. No, McCabe, you did that all by your lonesome. Now, Trey Gowdy, the bulldog from South Carolina, has put the corrupt former FBI official in his place with a brutal truth bomb. During an interview with Fox News Sunday, host Chris Wallace, whom I can't stand, Gowdy was asked whether a portion of McCabe's statement was accurate. In part, McCabe's statement said the attack on my credibility is one part of a larger effort not to just slander me personally, but to taint the FBI, law enforcement, and intelligence professionals more generally. In part of this administration's ongoing war on the FBI and the efforts of, there it goes, special counsel investigation, which continue to this day. That was a dig from McCabe. Their persistence in this campaign only highlights the importance, really, of special counsel's work. Yeah, you should have been fired a long time ago, McCabe. After Wallace presented Gowdy with this excerpt from McCabe's statement, Gowdy destroyed the former FBI official with just 3 words. Let's take a listen while instead of repeating this is quite long, but let's hear some of it. I guess not. Well, in an attempt to, where were we? Okay.
Andrew McCabe, the former deputy FBI director who was fired late Friday night, says the reason that he was fired was to undercut his credibility as a potential witness in the Mueller investigation. I want to put up some of Andrew McCabe's statement. This attack on my credibility is one part of a larger effort, not just to slander me personally, but to taint the FBI, law enforcement, and intelligence professionals more generally. It is part of this administration's ongoing war on the FBI and the efforts of the special counsel's investigation, which continue to this day. Congressman, your response.
Oh, Andy McCabe has undercut his credibility all by himself.
Thank you.
He didn't need any help doing that. And I find it richly ironic that he is lamenting that those are attacking the FBI when he himself does the exact same thing. It was the FBI who said he made an unauthorized disclosure and then lied about it. That wasn't President Trump. It wasn't me. It wasn't the crazy House Republicans. It was his own fellow FBI agents that said he leaked and then lied about it. So if he's got credibility issues, he needs to look no further than himself.
Thank you.
I just want to go on one point. And look, leaking is improper, and the lack of candor, some would call it lying, to investigators, especially under oath, is inexcusable and should be held to account. But my guess is most people would think that what Andy McCabe was involved with leaking was something against the Trump administration. My guess is most people don't know that, in fact, what he asked, he didn't actually leak. He apparently authorized an official to talk to a reporter about was the fact that the FBI wanted to pursue the Clinton Foundation investigation over the objections of the Justice Department.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if you look at his statement, he was really upset that he was being blamed for ending something. And the interesting part of his statement, which I hadn't heard a lot of people talk about, is that he was really blaming DOJ. The Department of Justice is who shut down the investigation. But you know what, Chris, we don't live in a relativistic world, and you don't get to pick and choose which rules to abide by, and you don't get to decide when to tell the truth and when not to. I'm going to withhold judgment until Horowitz's report comes out, because I don't know precisely what he found.
We should just say Horowitz is the Inspector General.
Right. Who, 2 weeks ago the president was criticizing, and now all of a sudden McCabe is criticizing, so he probably is doing his job because everyone's criticizing him. Let's wait and see what he found. Let's wait and see what that lack of candor was, and then we can judge the fact pattern and the proportionality of the penalty of his losing his pension. We can judge all that once we understand exactly what he's alleged to have done. But make no mistake, the FBI is who recommended that he be fired. It wasn't crazy House Republicans, and it wasn't the Trump administration. It was his own fellow bureau agents.
Point well taken. All of this, Congressman, comes on the same week that the House Intelligence Committee, on which you're a prominent member, basically ended your investigation of Russian collusion. I want to put up one of the key conclusions from Republican members of your committee. We have found no evidence of collusion, coordination, or conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Russians. GOP members also said that while they believe the Russians meddled in the campaign, they did not believe, in fact, they broke with the intelligence community's conclusion that this was an effort by the Russians to benefit the Trump campaign. Question, what's the basis for your conclusion, and you, I say collectively, Republicans on the committee, what's the basis for the conclusion, case closed?
Well, the basis for the conclusion, case closed on no evidence of collusion, is that we've interviewed north of 70 witnesses, and Chris, I personally have asked every one of them, give me any bit of evidence you have, regardless of whether you believe it and regardless of the source, that President Trump colluded, conspired, coordinated with the Russians. And not a single witness, from Susan Rice to Ben Rhodes to Donald Trump Jr. to Jared Kushner, no one has any evidence. I mean, folks who are sympathetic to the president and folks who are antagonistic to the president, not one scintilla of evidence of coordination, collusion, conspiracy between Trump and his campaign and the Russians. So I can't tell you what I don't know. I can just tell you I asked every single witness, and every single witness, including former Obama administration officials, had no evidence of collusion.
But here's the one question I have about this, Congressman. I want to put up some of the people that you and members of your committee never had a chance to talk to. Michael Flynn, Paul Manafort, Rick Gates, George Papadopoulos. These are some of the central figures in the Mueller investigation. So without having spoken to them, how can you conclude that there was no collusion?
Well, we can't talk to them. They're all under indictment and or have pled guilty, which is why I say there is no evidence. I can't tell you what 4 people I haven't talked to are going to say, but Chris, I can't talk to them. They have a Fifth Amendment right not to talk to Congress. I mean, Steve Bannon's not under indictment and he didn't talk to Congress. So, look, there are lots of things to blame Congress for, but us not knowing what people who won't talk to us are saying should not be one of them. I don't know what Mueller has found, and I've been really clear, leave him alone. Let him do his job. I can tell you within the universe of folks that we've interviewed, there is no evidence of collusion. That's the best I can do. I can't tell you what people I haven't talked to would say.
Here's my only point about this, is that the president is using the House Intelligence Committee's findings in effect as grist, as a defense to say that there was no collusion. And what you're admitting is that there were a lot of key members to this investigation who you've never talked to, so your conclusion is not conclusive.
Well, that's why I always say based on the evidence, and you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what witnesses you haven't talked to or documents you haven't seen. Look, I'm disappointed that Steve Bannon would sit there and be interviewed by a salacious book author, but he wouldn't answer our questions. I'm frustrated by that, but executive branch investigations have more credibility, they have more tools, and that's what I think my fellow citizens ought to be waiting for and have confidence in, not congressional investigations that are run by guys running for the Senate in California who've never met a camera that they didn't fall in love with. That's what you should not have confidence in. Have confidence in the executive branch investigations, and if Mueller finds stuff, more power to him. But the best I can do is interview the people in front of me and ask all relevant questions, and no one has said there was evidence. No one has said that there was collusion.
I want to bring up one final point. President Trump this week finally impose sanctions against Russia for meddling in the 2016 election. This after, and I know you voted for it, Congress approved sanctions back last summer, and in fact, the president didn't even impose all of the sanctions that all of you in Congress did authorize him, give him the opportunity to use back last summer. Do you think the president has stood up, has taken action against Vladimir Putin, or do you wish he had been tougher to him?
I think he's done a hell of a lot better job than President Obama did. It wasn't Donald Trump who laughed when Mitt Romney said Russia was our #1 geopolitical enemy, and it wasn't President Trump who handed that awkward reset button to the Russians, and it wasn't President Trump who said on a hot mic, I'll have more flexibility in his second term. All of that was President Obama. So this country can't be tough enough on Russia. They tried to interfere with the fundamentals of our democracy. I mean, their war is not against Democrats or Republicans, it's against Americans. So you cannot be tough enough against Russia, in my judgment. I hope he does more, but he did a hell of a lot more than his predecessor did.
Congress.
Wow, he actually said what Obama was caught on hot mic. I'm surprised at that. I'm surprised at that. And yeah, if Mueller had found anything from Papadopoulos and all of these people, you think Mueller wouldn't have come out with anything? Whatever Mueller got on the other people had nothing to do with President Trump. So I don't know what Chris Wallace is talking about. Trey Gowdy is absolutely right. It's very clear that Andrew McCabe wanted to follow the rules and tell the truth when it was convenient, but he was more than happy to deviate in order to help his own agenda. When the Inspector General's report does come out, things are going to get a lot worse for McCabe and his old boss, James Comey. Those two are very likely to have criminal charges brought against them, and then we will see what tune they sing. It never ceases to amaze me how above the law these top officials think they are. It's almost as if guys like James Comey and Andrew McCabe equate themselves with being king. In my opinion, the power they hold goes to their heads, and then it's all downhill from there. It's too bad Trey Gowdy won't be sticking around Congress to put hacks like McCabe in check. But yeah, at least Gowdy was forthright. But again, you know, I mean, because I wasn't too keen on Gowdy. The only thing I disagree with him is where he says, like, let the Mueller investigation continue. But maybe it's just a ploy to let it continue because they have nothing. Let it continue and let him make a fool out of himself. Could be. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.